In this video, I'm going to be doing some test cutting with the Derma-Safe Pocket Razor, which I bought from Blade HQ for $2.50. This tool, or knife, is marketed as being sort of a survival tool, and I think that's valid. Honestly, I think for its weight and its size and its cost, you can afford to put one of these in almost every EDC kit or bug out bag that I've ever seen. It's light enough and small enough and sharp enough to be useful in multiple situations. And in the future, I'm going to be making a video where I test some of those uses. I'm going to try to put it through its paces as far as survival applications. But for this video, I'm just going to be cutting some things that I had around the house, some paper, some cardboard, some plastic, and some other things, and we'll see how it performs. So this blade has never cut anything as of yet. This is a brand new razor blade. It sticks in its open position. It's actually retained fairly well, which I'm happy about. You can see the edge is in fabulous condition. So we're going to see what this does and what this will cut. I'm going to start with some paper here. So I got some notebook paper, and I hope that I can do this in a way that you can see what's happening. Hopefully I can get this to focus. There we go. Wow, that is just so smooth. I'm barely applying any pressure at all. You can see I'm cutting just slivers off this paper. It doesn't matter where I start on the blade. This is, in every sense of the word, a razor blade. Okay, so paper it can cut. We're fairly certain it can cut paper. Let's cut something else. Okay, I have some cardboard here. Let's see if I can bend this so it's a little bit more visible to you. Okay, I've got cardboard, cutting test for the Derma-Safe Pocket Razor. Okay, so one of the problems I run into with cutting cardboard, I do have to apply a bit of force here, because if you look at this blade, the blade has an extremely narrow profile, but you can see there's a piece of metal that's clamped around the back, the spine of the blade to give it some rigidity. Without that piece of metal on there, the blade would be very flexible, it would bend very easily. And what's happening, I don't know if I can show you this, is it's cutting into the cardboard, and then it hits that back, that spine, and that offers quite a bit of resistance, quite a bit more than would be offered on a typical knife whose edge simply goes all the way up. So you'll notice here as I'm trying to pull out, that is actually collapsing the blade. Probably not the best way to pull it out. If I flex it out there, it comes out a little bit easier. Let's see if I can make some better cuts here. It is sharp enough to cut the cardboard, but the shape of the blade is offering a fair amount of resistance once I get into the cardboard there. So it does cut. Oh, I'm bumping my camera there. Fix that. Anyway, good cuts on cardboard. It does run into the back of the blade there. Offers quite a bit of resistance. We can refocus this. There we go. Okay, so cardboard, not really its thing. Now, as far as opening boxes, cutting tape, absolutely. You'll notice I can drag this through with great ease. And opening a box or cutting the tape that holds a box closed poses no problem at all. I know because I've been using another Derma-Safe razor at work for the last week or so to cut open boxes and cut open my mail and stuff like that. Okay, so cardboard a little bit more difficult because of the shape of that blade and the reinforcement at the spine. Let's do another easy. This is just a plastic bag that some cookery came in. I have no fears that this is just gonna slice right open. There's almost no resistance here. Let's see if I can just press on the bag, and then the minute I start to move, it's cutting. It's cutting beautifully, okay? Cuts like butter. No resistance no trouble. All right, plastic, not a problem. A seat belt, possibly more of a problem. I made a previous video about the difference between using a plain edge and serrations when cutting seat belts. So let's see if we can get through this seat belt with the Derma-Safe Pocket Razor. Arguably a valid survival use for the knife. Okay, careful not to cut myself here. Okay, I am sliding back and forth just a little bit. It cuts well, not as well as serrations do. I made it through the seatbelt, and you can see that's a clean cut. Well, if my camera would actually focus for me. Come on. There we go. There we go. Clean cut right through the seatbelt. I mean, you can see the fibers there. Nearly parallel to the cut. Very clean cut. Does require more effort than you would think for a razor blade. You do have to saw back and forth just a little bit. I cut this piece in half just because it's fun. That was interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so I just learned something. Cutting lengthwise on the seat belt is extremely easy. Okay, I'm going to make another cut lengthwise here. And that's just sliding through, no problem whatsoever. Cutting through the seatbelt as though you were trying to free yourself in a survival situation, I end up having to saw back and forth. But cutting through lengthwise offers little resistance. Single pass. Very interesting. I did not see that coming. Okay, next material. Another potential survival use. This is basically a dried piece of grass from up on the mountains near where I live. Now my idea here is to make little tiny flakes, little tiny fibers that I can use as tinder for a fire. So I'm going to try and cut here. Oh, beautiful. You can see it's shaving off just little bits there that would actually catch a spark. Now this grass, it is very dry, it's very brittle, very flammable, but it does not catch a spark very well. I know because I tried. But I can make these little tiny shavings here. This is going to be a little bit of a mess to clean up. Fantastic cutting. I didn't really see it having any trouble with this. I try to cut straight through. It is quite difficult. It's fibrous like the seatbelt is, but it will cut. Okay, next material. This is another potential survival situation. Let's say your buddy, you have to get to a wound of some sort. You need to cut his jeans off. We're going to try and cut some denim. This is not denim from a bolt of fabric or anything. This is actual jeans. So this is the hem of a pant, obviously worn. And I'm going to see if I can start cutting through here to save his life, hopefully. Quite simple. Quite simple. This is very much like cutting lengthwise on the seat belt. It's offering very little resistance. See if I can get focused here. Focus. Okay. Very simple. Cuts like a dream. Okay, so the pocket razor, useful as a medical blade. If I had to get to my friend, save his leg or whatever, who knows. If I needed to cut some denim off of somebody, not a problem whatsoever. Out of curiosity, I'd like to try cutting laterally and see if it offers as much resistance as the seatbelt does. Okay, at first it did, but once it got started, very little resistance. Wonderful cutting capabilities. Excellent, okay. I've saved the hardest material for last. The idea here is that this is wire, 28 gauge wire. So I'm going to cut off a little piece here. Okay. And I don't know if you'll be able to see this in the video. I hope you can. But I'm going to try to cut this steel wire with a razor blade. The idea here being that somehow you have steel wire wrapped around someone's neck, or, you know, tying you off to something, you're caught on some steel wire, however thin it may be, or perhaps you need to cut a length of wire, making a fishing hook setup, and pressing it around the blade. It feels murderous to the blade. It is not cutting. Of course, I don't have a very good grip. Let's try a longer piece of wire here. Okay, I'm going to wrap this around my finger, and wrap another length around this finger. So now I have a very good grip. Let's see if I can cut this. Ah, it did cut. It did cut. In a survival situation, you could use this blade to cut something like 28 gauge wire. Now granted, I wouldn't want to. I just murdered that part of my blade. You can actually see, well, I can see. I don't know if you can see. Let's have some focus here. Yeah, you can see the damage on the blade there. That was murderous to the blade. That will probably not cut paper again. Let's go back to my paper and see what happens. So I'm going to start at the back of the blade, and as I drag through, you can see that part of the blade is still razor sharp, and I can feel right there. That's where the, oops, sorry about the focus. I can feel right there. That's where it gets dull. Doesn't want to cut through. Back of the blade, still very sharp, but as soon as I get, you can see as soon as I get to the murder part of the blade, where the wire was cut, it does not work as well, as to be expected. So, overall, I'm impressed that it cut the wire. I think it did very well on paper. Cardboard is a problem because the stiffness of the cardboard keeps it in line with this ledge on the back of the blade. That's a problem. Seatbelts, I guess if you had some need to cut lengthwise on a seatbelt, useful. I can't imagine a use for that. Denim, cut just fine. Wood, or not wood, but the weeds, I was able to shave off little tiny pieces to use for a fire starting tinder. The wire, I'm actually really impressed. I didn't think it would cut through, and it did. I'm impressed by that. So, I hope this was informative for you. I hope you learned something. I certainly did. I learned a few things today. And if you have any recommendations for things that you would like to see the Derma-Safe Razor cut, leave them in the comments below. I'd be happy to try and make that happen for you. I think that's it for this video. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.